Bratislava, the city you know as that place next to Vienna. My name is Laser, and let's get to it. The name Bratislava was given to the city after World War I due to reasons we are going to discuss later. Before World War I, the city was known by many names, and depending on who you ask, the name of the city and the etymology of that name could be completely different. Just a few of the names for the city are Pozsony, Pozonium, Pressburg, Istropolis, or Pressburg. The name Istropolis comes from mostly Greek, but also Latin, and it simply means Danube city. The most used name for the city throughout history is Pressburg, which is Austrian. It comes from an abbreviation of an old version of the name Breslausburg, which literally means Castle of Breslau, who was a historic owner of the castle. The Slavic name for the city, Prešporok, comes from the name Pressburg, which was modified by the Slovak language. However, Hungarian sources claim the city is named Pozsony, which according to them was the name of the owner of the castle, or maybe it was the name of the King Saint Stephen's great commander who fought in the War of Pressburg, and therefore the city was named after him. They also claim that the names Pressburg and Prešporok are just modified versions of the name Pozsony. However, it may also be that the name Pozsony is vice versa, just Magyarized version of the word Pressburg. There are many sources here that contradict each other, and therefore I'm just going to call the city Bratislava so I and you don't get a headache. Bratislava lays on an important strategical point in Central Europe between the Carpathian Mountains and the Alps on an important trade route on the River Danube. It is also no coincidence that this strategical place on the River Danube is also one of the oldest continuously inhabited places in Central Europe. The first known human settlement in the area was in the Neolithic times, however remnants of Neanderthals and even earlier, word I can't pronounce, were found around Bratislava dating back between 25 to 15 million years ago. The first known fortified settlement in the area was found under today's Bratislava castle dating back to the Neolithic era. By the end of the Bronze Age, the settlement shifted to nearby Devin, where the river Moravia joined the river Danube, and during the Iron Age, it shifted back to the castle hill. During the Iron Age, at the end of the 2nd century BCE, a very important Celtic city was constructed with a mint and a fort on the castle hill. This city was a major Celtic trade center and economically important to the area. However, around the 1st century CE, due to continuous harassments by the Germanic tribes, the Celts had to flee the area seeking refuge across the Danube in the Roman Empire. From 1st to 5th century CE, without the Celts in the area anymore, Romans tried to expand their power across the Danube, first setting up a small trade post in Stupava and then trying to build baths in Dubravka. However, due to internal struggles and Germanic tribes, most of these attempts were unsuccessful. In the 5th to 6th century, during the migration period, Slavs arrived to the area and created the basis for the forts we see in the area today. At the end of the 6th century, however, the Eurasian Avars came and threatened the Slavic settlements. In these desperate times, the Slavs in the area rallied behind a skilled merchant, Samo, and with his help, they managed to drive out the Avars and establish a first Slavic political entity around the region of Bratislava and Nitra. Sadly, after Samo's death, the kingdom fell apart. From 8th century until 907, Bratislava Castle as well as Devin Castle were important centers of Principality of Nitra, which was part of the Great Moravian Empire. After the fall of the Moravian Empire, around 10th century, Bratislava came under the control of the Hungarians. Because of Bratislava's strategic position, it became a site of frequent attacks and battles, and therefore the castle became one of the best fortifications in Hungary along with the city, and a place of frequent stay of Hungarian kings. In the following years, Bratislava is a stage for numerous, and I mean countless of battles, during which the city changes hands between Hungarians to HRE to Hungarians to Bohemia to Hungarians, then paused for the Crusades, during which in the 12th century warriors gathered in Bratislava to start of the Third Crusade. In the 15th to 16th century, the Hungarian kingdom declines and suffers major losses to the Ottomans. During this time, the Hungarian kingdom also fell under the rule of the Habsburgs, and the capital of Hungary was moved to Bratislava, where for almost 300 years, the Habsburgs were crowned as the Hungarian kings. This was the height of Bratislava's power, during which it expanded tremendously thanks to Austrian immigrants and Hungarians fleeing the Ottoman conquest. As the seat of Hungarian kings, Bratislava was the administrative heartland of Hungary, and because of that, it grew in wealth, power, and became the most populous city in Hungary. However, in the 19th century, when Ottomans were defeated, the capital of Hungary changed back to Budapest, and this was the start of the downfall for Bratislava. After World War I, Bratislava, or at the time Pressburg, was at a crossroad. The city had a large diversity, with Austrians making up the majority of the city's population, but there were very sizable Slovak and Hungarian populations in the city as well. The city tried to declare itself independent, however in 1919 Czechoslovakian troops annexed the city and declared it as the capital of Slovakia, renaming it from Pressburg to Bratislava. The name Bratislava came from a poorly transcribed script of the early king's name, Breslau, or the Czech king who is thought to have controlled the city for a while, Brestislav. Nevertheless, the name stuck and Pressburg became known as Bratislava ever since. Between the war period, Bratislava was slowly starting to turn around from its downfall, however it was a very slow change which was halted by the start of World War II. During World War II, Bratislava was the capital of the First Slovak Republic, which was a puppet state of Nazi Germany. During this time, Sadjanka Krala, the oldest municipal park in Central Europe, was converted into a ghetto/concentration camp for 15,000 or so Jews living in Bratislava. After World War II, Bratislava came came under the control of the communists, during which it very slowly rebuilt due to ineffective communist reform. However, a new area of the city was built during this time, Petržalka. After the fall of communism and the split of Czechoslovakia in 1993, Bratislava became the capital of the Slovak Republic. Bratislava now is the seat of a corrupt government which had overseen a very poor distribution of the state's wealth after communism and is accused of numerous money laundering schemes. Nevertheless, in the past few years, Bratislava underwent a large expansion and hopefully will remain strong into the future. Thank you for watching my video in around 5 minutes, where I try to explain the history of a city in 5 minutes. Suggest new cities down in the comment section below or on a Reddit post, link in the description.